You don't realize how powerful calmness is until you stop reacting and watch what happens next. Because most people aren't used to it. They're used to movement, noise, and emotion. They're used to reading you, and for a long time, you made it easy. Not because you were weak, but because you were open. You explained yourself, clarified your intentions, and filled in the silence so nothing felt misunderstood. And without noticing, you gave people access. Access to your thoughts, your emotions, and your patterns. You showed them exactly how to reach you, exactly how to affect you, exactly how to get a reaction. And reactions, that's where your power was leaking. Every reaction confirmed something. Confirmed that you cared, confirmed that something got to you, confirmed that they still had influence. And influence is what most people are really chasing. Not connection, not understanding, control. Subtle, quiet, often unspoken control. And the easiest way to feel in control of someone is to be able to predict them. To know that if you say this, they'll respond like that. If you push here, they'll react there. If you ignore them, they'll come back trying harder. Predictability feels safe, but it costs you something. Because the moment people can predict you, they stop respecting your boundaries. They start testing them. Not always intentionally, but consistently. And you've seen it before. Someone says something slightly off, just to see if you'll bite. Someone delays a response just to see if you'll chase. Someone crosses a line just to see if you'll correct it. And before, you'd react, you'd explain, you'd try to fix the tension, smooth it out, make everything clear again. Because silence felt uncomfortable. Because not responding felt like losing. But it wasn't losing. It was unfamiliar power. And the moment you begin to understand that, everything shifts. Because now, you pause. Not out of fear, but out of control. Someone says something that used to trigger you, and instead of reacting instantly, you let it sit. Just for a second, then a little longer. And in that space, something unexpected happens. They notice not your words, but your absence of them. The missing reaction, the silence they weren't prepared for. And that's when it starts, the shift. Because when you stay calm, some people panic. Not always visibly, not always dramatically, but internally, something breaks pattern. Because they were expecting access, and suddenly, it's gone. They were expecting emotion, and suddenly, there's none to grab onto. They were expecting you to play your role, and you didn't show up. Now, they don't know where they stand. And uncertainty, that's what creates pressure. They start filling the silence themselves, talking more, explaining more, overcompensating. Trying to pull you back into the dynamic they understand, because calmness, real calmness, feels like distance to someone who relied on your reactions. It feels like disconnection, like they're losing something. And, in a way, they are. They're losing predictability. They're losing control. They're losing the version of you they were comfortable with, and that makes people uneasy. You'll see it in small ways first. A slight change in tone, more questions than usual, little tests to see if you're still the same. And here's where most people break, because the pressure builds. The silence feels heavy. You start thinking, maybe I should say something. Maybe I should explain. Maybe I should fix this. That urge, that's the old pattern trying to pull you back. Because reacting feels natural. It feels like relief. It feels like control, but it's not. It's surrender disguised as clarity. Because the moment you rush to explain again, you give the map back. You show them exactly where you are, exactly how to reach you, exactly how to reset the dynamic. And everything goes back to normal. Comfortable, predictable, controlled. But if you don't, if you stay calm just a little longer, something deeper starts to happen. They lean in, not physically, but mentally. They start watching you more closely, trying to read what you're not saying, trying to interpret your silence. And the less you give, the more they look, the more they analyze, the more they think about you. Because mystery creates attention, not noise, not over-explaining, not constant reacting. Silence. Silence forces people to engage, to wonder, to question. And that's where your power shifts completely. Because now, you're not the one trying to be understood. They are. They start explaining themselves, clarifying things you never asked for, trying to regain a sense of position, and you didn't force it. You didn't manipulate anything. You just stopped reacting. And that's what makes it so powerful. It's not something you do to others. It's something you stop doing for them. And the absence of that reaction changes everything. But calmness isn't easy at the beginning. It feels unnatural. It feels like you're holding something back, like you're resisting the urge to correct, respond, or release tension. Because your mind is used to resolution, used to closing loops quickly. Silence leaves loops open, and open loops create discomfort, not just for them, but for you. That's the real test. Not whether others react differently, but whether you can sit in that silence without breaking it, without rushing to fill it, without needing to be understood immediately. Because the moment you can do that consistently, you become something rare. Someone who isn't controlled by emotion. Someone who doesn't move just because something moved them. Someone who chooses when to respond and when not to. And that kind of control is uncomfortable for others. Because now they can't predict you anymore. And when people can't predict you, they start to panic. It starts small. A glance, a stutter, a rushed explanation. Then larger, testing boundaries, probing your calm, pushing the limits. Because they feel something they haven't felt before. Uncertainty. And uncertainty, fear, tension, panic, they didn't know it, but they were addicted to your predictability. Until now. Now, silence becomes your weapon. Not a weapon of attack, but a weapon of influence. Because in stillness, people reveal themselves, their desires, their insecurities, their need for control. And you don't have to do anything to make it happen. You just remain calm, you just remain unreadable, because power doesn't shout. Power doesn't react. Power doesn't chase approval or explanations. It simply exists in silence, in stillness, in control. And when you finally accept this, when you finally embody calm as a choice, you will notice something else. People begin to adjust their behavior slowly, cautiously, testing their own limits, learning how to interact with someone who doesn't give them the usual responses. They start respecting the space you create. They start noticing the absence of chaos. They start seeking connection on your terms, not theirs, and that is liberation. Because once you can move through the world calm, unreadable, and unreactive, you're no longer a participant in everyone else's game. You're the one setting the rhythm. You're the one dictating the energy. And that shift, that subtle dominance, that quiet authority, it's addictive. For you and for everyone who once relied on your predictability, because when you stay calm, some people panic. And that panic, that tension, that small, invisible chaos, it proves you've gained something far more valuable than reaction. You've gained power, you've gained freedom, you've gained control without ever lifting a finger. So pause, breathe, stay calm, let them panic. And if you want more insight into mastering silence, control, and influence, subscribe now, because this is only the beginning. If you've been watching this, you already know. Calmness, silence, and staying unreadable isn't something you master overnight. It's a practice, a habit, a way of moving through life that changes how people respond to you and how you respond to the world. The truth is, one video alone won't make it automatic. But watching these ideas daily, letting them sink in, and noticing the patterns, practicing in real life, that's how it becomes second nature. That's how you stop reacting without even thinking. That's how you stay calm, even in chaos. That's how you take back control, silently, effortlessly, powerfully. So here's what I want you to do. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, make watching this content part of your daily routine. Because every time you return, you reinforce the mindset, the habits, and the subtle power that most people never even notice. Do this consistently and you'll see the difference. In your presence, your energy, and the way people respond to you. Stay calm, watch, learn, practice, and let the world notice the shift.